Pandas for Sports Analytics, Analyzing a Basketball Season. A complete, standalone tutorial will build a synthetic season of basketball box scores, then rank, track, and compare players with Pandas. No prior Pandas experience needed. Let's jump straight in. Running the cell now. Before you start, open a new Jupyter notebook in VS Code and select your Python interpreter as the kernel. If Pandas isn't installed yet, open a terminal in VS Code and run pip install pandas. Running the cell now. Once your kernel is selected, you're ready to go. And if you're enjoying this series, subscribing now means the next dataset lands in your feed automatically. Let's dive in. Part 1. Building the dataset. Running the cell now. We import pandas as PD, the standard alias. We also import numpy, which we'll use to generate random box scores. We print the installed pandas version to confirm everything works. Running the cell now. Here, we print the version of the pandas library to confirm our working environment setup. Noticing that the version is 2.3.0 is important because it ensures compatibility with the latest features and syntax we'll use while building our dataset. This step helps avoid potential issues as we move forward in the lesson. We'll simulate one full box score per player per game, for a small 2-team league, entirely offline, so this notebook runs anywhere. Generating a synthetic season. Running the cell now. A seeded random generator, so this season is exactly reproducible. A dictionary mapping each of 2 teams to 5 player names. So every player belongs to exactly 1 team. Each player will have logged stats for 20 games this season. We print the team rosters. Running the cell now. This output shows the dictionary of teams with their respective players, confirming the initial setup for our synthetic season. Notice the clear structure, each team name is a key, and the players are listed as values. This setup is essential for generating game data that reflects real team compositions throughout the season. An empty list to collect 1 row per player per game. We loop over each team and its list of players. Then over each individual player. Then over 20 games for that player. Drawing minutes played from a random range. Points from a Poisson distribution centered around 14, a realistic way to simulate count-like data. Rebounds from a Poisson distribution centered around 5. An assist centered around 4. Appending the finished row for this player, this game. We build a data frame from every row, naming each column clearly. We print the shape, 10 players times 20 games equals 200 rows. Running the cell now. This output shows that the synthetic dataset contains 200 rows and 7 columns, confirming that data was generated for multiple players across several games. Notice how the shape aligns with the intent to simulate game stats for each player, capturing key performance metrics like minutes, points, rebounds, and assists per game. This structure is essential for analyzing player trends throughout the season. We save the season to a CSV file, exactly like an export from a stats tracking app. Then we read it straight back in, the same way you'd load any downloaded dataset. Head previews the first 5 rows. Running the cell now. This output shows the first 5 rows of our synthetic season data after saving and reloading it from a CSV file, confirming our dataset structure remains intact. Notice the key columns, team, player, game number, minutes played, and key stats like points, rebounds, and assists that represent each player's performance per game. This step ensures our generated data is correctly formatted for further analysis or modeling in the synthetic season. Part 2. First look at the data. Running the cell now. Shape confirms 200 rows, 1 per player per game, and 7 columns. Info summarizes every column's type and non-null count in one place, nothing is missing here. Running the cell now. This output shows that our data frame games contains 200 rows and 7 columns, confirming the dataset size we're working with. The .info method reveals that all columns have complete data, no missing values, and displays the data types, helping us understand which features are numeric for analysis and which are categorical. This initial inspection is crucial for planning how to manipulate and analyze the dataset effectively. Describe summarizes the 4 numeric stat columns at once: count, mean, standard deviation, minute, max, and quartiles. Running the cell now. This summary table shows key statistics for minutes played, points scored, rebounds, and assists across 200 games, revealing typical ranges and variability in player performance. Notice the means and medians are close, suggesting fairly symmetric distributions, while the max values highlight standout performances. This initial overview helps us understand the data's shape and scale before deeper analysis. Value_counts confirms both teams logged exactly 100 rows each, 5 players times 20 games. Running the cell now. Here, we use value_counts to see how many games each team has in the dataset. Notice both the Comets and Falcons have the same number of entries, 100 each, confirming the data is balanced across teams. This ensures fair comparisons in later analyses. Grouping by player and summing collapses 20 individual games into one season total per player. Part 3, Season Totals and Ranking. Running the cell now. We group by player and callag with several named outputs at once. Team uses first, since every game for a given player has the same team, we just want to keep it as a label. Games_played counts how many rows, meaning games, each player has. Total_points sums the points column. Total_rebound sums rebounds. And total_assist sums assists. Sorted so the league's leading scorer appears first. We display the full season leaderboard. Running the cell now. This output shows the aggregated season totals for each player, including their team, games played, and cumulative stats like points, rebounds, and assists. Notice the data frame is sorted by total points, highlighting the top scorers first, which aligns with the lesson's goal of ranking players based on their season performance. This structured summary helps us compare players across multiple metrics in one view. Rank assigns a numeric standing to every value in a column, which is often more useful than just sorting. Ranking with rank. Running the cell now. Rank with ascending equals false gives rank 1 to the highest scorer. A type, int, turns the result into whole numbers instead of 1.0, 2.0, and so on. We display just the columns relevant to the scoring race. Running the cell now. This output shows how the rank function assigns each player's total_points a rank, with 1 being the highest score. Notice the descending order ranks reflect the code's ascending equals false parameter, effectively highlighting top performers. This ranking helps us quickly identify and compare players' performance within the dataset. Raw totals favor whoever played more games. Per game averages are usually the fairer comparison. Per game averages. Running the cell now. Grouping by player and averaging the 3 counting stats, rounded to 1 decimal place. Then sorting by scoring average, highest first. Gives a much more standard points per game style leaderboard. Running the cell now. This output shows each player's average points, rebounds, and assists per game, sorted by points scored. Notice how the code groups by player and calculates the mean, then rounds for clarity, helping us easily compare performance across key stats. This aligns with the lesson goal of summarizing individual player contributions on a per-game basis. We'll build our own per-game efficiency score, points, rebounds, and assists combined, per minute played. Part 4 of a simple efficiency metric. Running the cell now. Adding the 3 stat columns and dividing by minutes gives a per-minute production rate for every single game. We preview it alongside minutes played, to sanity check the math. Running the cell now. Here, the code calculates a simple efficiency metric by combining points, rebounds, and assists per minute played, giving a quick measure of a player's overall contribution relative to time on the court. Notice the efficiency column varies across games for the same player, showing how performance fluctuates game to game. This helps illustrate how to create and interpret a custom stat that normalizes output by effort, which is the goal of this lesson section. Averaging that per game efficiency across the season, per player, and sorting highest first reveals the most efficient overall producer, which doesn't always match the top scorer. Running the cell now. Here, we see the average efficiency score for each player, sorted from highest to lowest. Notice that Nia and Mo lead with averages above 1, indicating they perform efficiently on average, while players like Theo have lower scores. This helps us understand individual player performance trends using a simple metric, aligning with our goal to summarize efficiency effectively. Tracking a stat game by game, instead of just the season total, reveals streaks, slumps, and momentum. We're now tracking real in-season trends, not just final totals. If you're finding this useful, a subscribe helps a lot. Part 5, Cumulative and Rolling Stats. Running the cell now. We sort by player, then game number, so each player's games are in chronological order. groupby followed by sum computes a running total per player, resetting back to 0 for each new player. We preview one player's final few games, watching the cumulative total climb. Running the cell now. Here we see how the cumulative points for player Rylan increase over consecutive games, reflecting the running total of points scored. Notice the steady rise in the cumulative underscore points column as each game's points are added, illustrating how sum tracks cumulative performance across the season. This output demonstrates how to calculate and interpret cumulative stats to analyze trends over time. Transform applies a function per group but returns a result the same length as the original data, which lets us attach a rolling 5-game scoring average right back onto every row. We preview one player's last 8 games, seeing their smoothed scoring trend alongside the raw, game-by-game numbers. Running the cell now. This output shows Dara's points alongside a 5-game rolling average, calculated to smooth short-term fluctuations and highlight performance trends. Notice how the rolling average lags behind sudden score drops or spikes, providing a more stable view of Dara's scoring consistency over recent games. This demonstrates the power of rolling stats to track player performance momentum in evolving datasets. Grouping by team instead of player rolls everything up one more level, for a head-to-head comparison. Part 6, Comparing Teams. Running the cell now. We group by team and average for different stats at once. Points, rebounds, assists, and our efficiency metric, rounded to 2 decimal places. We display the head-to-head team comparison. Running the cell now. This output summarizes key performance metrics for each team by averaging points, rebounds, assists, and efficiency across their games. Notice how the Falcons slightly outperform the Comets in all categories, indicating a trend of consistent, balanced contributions. This comparison helps us understand team strengths and informs strategic insights in our analysis. Binning game numbers into ranges, then pivoting, shows whether a player trended up or down across the season. Pivot table, player scoring by game range. Running the cell now. PD cut splits the 20-game season into 3 labeled thirds, based on game number. Pivot underscore table then puts players down the rows, those 3 season thirds across the columns, and averages points scored in each cell. We display the resulting early versus late scoring trend for every player. Running the cell now. This pivot table summarizes the average points per player across 3 game ranges, games 1 to 7, 8 to 14, and 15 to 20, highlighting how scoring trends evolve over the season. Notice the slight fluctuations in the players' scoring averages, reflecting their performance consistency or improvement over time. For example, Dara and Inz increase their scoring in the final third, while others like Omar peak mid-season. This aligns with the lesson goal of using pivot tables to analyze player scoring by segmented game periods for deeper insights. A player whose numbers climb from left to right across that table finished the season hot, one that falls off is trending the other way. A couple of charts make the scoring race and a single player's trend much easier to read at a glance. Part 7, Visualizing the results. Running the cell now. We import matplotlib. Switching to the non-interactive AG backend so charts save cleanly anywhere. Then we import pyplot. A figure and axis, sized to fit 10 players comfortably. We plot each player's points per game average as a bar chart. A clear title. And a y-axis label. Tight underscore layout avoids clipped labels. We save the chart to a PNG file. We release the figure from memory. We confirm the save. Running the cell now. This output confirms that the bar chart visualizing each player's average points per game was successfully saved as a points_per_game.png. By examining this chart, you can easily compare player performance at a glance, highlighting key differences in scoring. This step shows how to effectively use plotting to communicate data insights in a clear, visual format. Opening the real saved chart directly, confirming it genuinely landed on disk exactly as it looked in the notebook. We isolate one player's rows to chart individually. A new figure and axis. We plot their raw, game-by-game points as a faded line with markers, labeled for the legend. We plot their smoothed 5-game rolling average on top, in a bold color, so the underlying trend stands out. A title naming the player. An x-axis label for game number. A y-axis label for points. Legend shows both labeled lines. Tight underscore layout keeps everything tidy. We save this chart too. We release the figure. We confirm the save. Running the cell now. This output confirms that we've successfully saved a line chart showing Ryland's points per game alongside his 5-game rolling average. Notice how the plot helps visualize both individual game scores and overall scoring trends across the season, which is key to understanding performance consistency. This step completes our data visualization, tying raw statistics to clear, interpretable insights. Opening the real saved trend chart directly, confirming it genuinely landed on disk exactly as it looked in the notebook. That combination, a noisy per-game line with a smooth rolling average layered on top, works just as well for tracking an individual player as it did for our earlier revenue trend. We covered a lot, so let's recap. Wrap up what you learned. Generating a realistic synthetic season of box scores with NumPy's Poisson distribution, then saving and reloading with to_CSV and read_CSV. First look exploration, shape, info, describe, and value_counts. Season totals with a multi-statistic AG, plus rank for a real leaderboard. Building your own derived metric, like our per-minute efficiency score. Cumulative totals with CumSum, and per-player rolling averages with groupby plus transform. Team-level comparisons, and a pivot table binned by season 3rd to spot trends over time. You went from raw synthetic box scores to a full season analysis with rankings, trends, and charts. If you want the next dataset in this series to land in your feed automatically, subscribing is the move. See you in the next one. Running the cell now.